She read your message. You saw the blue check marks. You watched her active status change from online to last seen 15 minutes ago. Yet silence, nothing. Radio dead. And right now, you're probably crafting another message in your head, wondering what you did wrong, or worse, what's wrong with you. Here's the truth no one wants to tell you. Her silence isn't about you. It's about what you represent. And until you understand this fundamental principle, you'll keep making the same desperate moves that push quality women further away. Most men think ignored messages are a reflection of their worth. They're not. They're a reflection of your energy, your desperation, your complete misunderstanding of how attraction actually works in the female mind. Today, I'm going to break down the brutal psychology behind why women ignore messages, what it reveals about your inner state, and most importantly, how to flip the script entirely. This isn't about manipulation or games. This is about becoming the type of man who doesn't need to chase responses because he's created something worth responding to. By the end of this, you'll understand why the men who get consistent responses from women operate from a completely different psychological framework. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. When you're anxiously waiting for her response, when you're checking your phone every 30 seconds, when you're crafting the perfect follow-up message, you're operating from scarcity. And scarcity is the most unattractive energy you can broadcast. Women don't ignore messages because they're evil or playing games. They ignore them because they can feel your desperation through the screen. They can sense that this conversation, this response, this validation matters too much to you. And nothing kills attraction faster than a man who needs her attention to feel complete. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For thousands of years, women have been hardwired to select mates who can provide security, resources, and emotional stability. A man who's desperately seeking validation through text messages signals the opposite of all three. He signals insecurity, neediness, and emotional instability. Your ignored message isn't a rejection of your words. It's a rejection of the energy behind them. The energy that says, I need you to respond to feel okay about myself. The energy that reeks of having no other options. The energy of a man who has made her the prize instead of becoming the prize himself. Here's what happens in her mind when she receives a message from a needy man. Her subconscious immediately categorizes you as low value. Not because you're inherently low value, but because your energy suggests you believe you are. And if you don't value yourself, why should she? Now contrast this with a different scenario. Imagine receiving a text from someone who clearly has their life together. Someone who's reaching out because they genuinely enjoy the connection, but who obviously has other priorities, other options, other sources of fulfillment. The energy is completely different when a man operates from abundance. When he has a full life, clear purpose, and genuine self-respect, his messages carry a different frequency. They're not seeking validation. They're offering value. They're not desperate for a response. They're sharing something worthwhile. This man doesn't check his phone obsessively. He doesn't craft multiple drafts. He doesn't analyze her response time or read hidden meanings into her words. Why? Because he has other things going on. Better things. Things that matter more than whether one person responds to one message. This isn't about faking abundance. You can't fake this energy long term. This is about actually building a life so compelling, so fulfilling, so purpose-driven that no single person's response can shake your foundation. Women are attracted to men who are going somewhere. Men who have a mission bigger than getting her attention. Men who would be fine, more than fine, whether she responds or not. Here's another layer most men completely miss. In today's digital world, attention is currency. And women, especially attractive women, are rich in attention. Their phones are buzzing constantly with messages from men seeking validation, connection, or just hoping to get lucky. When you send a message that sounds like every other message she receives, you're competing in an oversaturated market. Your "Hey beautiful" or "What are you up to" isn't unique. It's generic. It's forgettable. It's the text equivalent of white noise. But here's the thing. Most men think the solution is to be more clever, more funny, more persistent. They're wrong. The solution is to be more valuable, to have something worth saying, to bring energy to the conversation that elevates both of you. A high-value man doesn't send messages to fill silence. He sends messages because he has something worth sharing, a thought that sparked his curiosity, an experience that genuinely added to his day, a question that comes from authentic interest, not desperate fishing for attention. The difference is subtle but massive. One approach seeks to extract value from her. The other seeks to create value with her. Here's where it gets really interesting. The way people respond to you is often a reflection of how you see yourself. If you believe deep down that you're not worth responding to, that energy will seep into everything you do, including your messages. Women have an almost supernatural ability to sense a man's inner state. They can feel your self-doubt, your desperation, your neediness, even through text. It's not magic, it's biology. They've evolved to be incredibly sensitive to these emotional undercurrents because, historically, their survival depended on choosing the right mate. When you send a message from a place of genuine confidence, when you truly believe you bring value to every interaction, that energy is magnetic. It draws people in because confidence is rare. Real confidence, not the loud, bragging kind, but the quiet certainty that comes from knowing your worth. This is why some men can send the simplest messages and get enthusiastic responses, while others craft elaborate texts that get ignored. It's not about the words, it's about the man behind the words. The harder you chase, the faster they run. This isn't just a dating principle, it's a fundamental law of human psychology. We value what we have to work for and dismiss what comes to eyes. When you're constantly available, constantly responsive, constantly seeking her attention, you've eliminated all mystery, all challenge, all reason for her to invest mental energy in you. You've made yourself too easy to obtain and therefore not worth obtaining. Think about it this way. If someone offered you a free Rolex on the street corner, you'd probably walk past thinking it was fake. But if you had to save money for months to buy that same Rolex, you'd treasure it. The human mind assigns value based on scarcity and effort required to obtain something. This doesn't mean you should play games or be deliberately difficult. It means you should have a life so full, so compelling, so purpose-driven that you naturally create the right amount of space and challenge. You shouldn't have to remember to seem busy. You should actually be busy building something that matters. So what's the solution? How do you become the man whose messages don't get ignored? It starts with foundation work that has nothing to do with texting strategies or clever pickup lines. First, build a life worth living. Develop interests that fascinate you. Pursue goals that excite you. Create a daily routine that energizes you. Have hobbies that challenge you. Build relationships that fulfill you. When your life is genuinely interesting, you'll have interesting things to share. Second, develop unshakable self-respect. This means setting boundaries and sticking to them. This means not accepting behavior that doesn't align with how you want to be treated. This means walking away from situations that drain your energy rather than trying to fix them. Third, cultivate genuine abundance. Date multiple women simultaneously in the early stages. Build a social circle that includes quality people of both sexes. Develop skills that make you valuable in multiple areas of life. Create options so that no single person's response can affect your emotional state. Fourth, master your inner game. Work on your limiting beliefs. Address your insecurities. Develop emotional intelligence. Learn to manage your mental state independent of external circumstances. This is the hardest work, but it's the most important. When you've done this foundation work, something magical happens. Your energy shifts completely. You stop seeking validation and start offering value. You stop chasing responses and start creating experiences worth responding to. Your messages become different because you're different. They're not desperate attempts to capture her attention. They're natural expressions of who you are. They don't seek to impress. They simply reflect a man who's already impressive to himself. This energy is instantly recognizable to women. It's the energy of a man who has options, who has purpose, who has respect for himself and others. It's magnetic because it's rare. Most men are operating from neediness, scarcity, and desperation. You've chosen to operate from abundance, purpose, and self-respect. Here's what happens when you make this shift. Women start responding differently, not because you've learned some magic texting technique, but because you've become the type of man worth responding to. Your messages get opened immediately, instead of being ignored. Conversations flow naturally, instead of feeling forced. Women initiate contact, instead of always waiting for you to reach out. They make time for you, instead of being too busy. They prioritize you because your energy communicates that you're a priority. But here's the beautiful irony. Once you reach this point, her responses matter less to you. You're not dependent on them for your emotional state. You're not checking your phone obsessively. You're not analyzing response times or hidden meanings. You're living your life, and she either adds to it or she doesn't. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent work on yourself, your mindset, your habits, your goals, your relationships. It requires becoming comfortable with being alone, so that you can be selective about who you allow into your space. It means developing patience and discipline. It means choosing long-term respect over short-term validation. It means building something solid instead of chasing something temporary. Most men aren't willing to do this work. They want the quick fix, the magic phrase, the secret technique. That's why most men struggle with women throughout their lives. They're focused on tactics instead of transformation. You're different. You understand that becoming attractive to high-quality women requires becoming a high-quality man. You understand that the work you do on yourself is the most important investment you'll ever make. Once you've internalized these principles, you'll never again find yourself desperately waiting for someone's response. You'll never again craft multiple drafts of the same message. You'll never again check your phone every few minutes, hoping for validation from someone else. Instead, you'll operate from a place of quiet confidence. You'll send messages when you have something worth saying. You'll engage in conversations that add value to both parties. You'll attract women who are genuinely interested in getting to know the man you've become. This isn't about becoming cold or indifferent, it's about becoming centered and self-contained. It's about building internal validation so strong that external responses become bonuses rather than necessities. You'll start to notice which women are worth your energy and which ones aren't. You'll develop the discernment to recognize quality and the standards to demand it. You'll stop wasting time on women who don't appreciate what you bring to the table. The brutal truth about why she ignores your messages has nothing to do with your words and everything to do with your worth. Not your inherent worth as a human being, but your perceived worth based on how you carry yourself, how you value yourself, how you show up in the world. When you become a man of value, purpose, and genuine self-respect, the problem of ignored messages solves itself. Not because you've learned better texting strategies, but because you've become someone worth responding to. This is your choice. Continue operating from desperation, neediness, and scarcity, hoping that the right words will save you. Or commit to the hard work of becoming the man whose presence is so valuable that people naturally want to be part of his world. The path forward is clear. The question is whether you're ready to walk it. Your phone is just a tool. Your message is just words. But the man behind them, that's everything. Become that man, and the responses will follow. More importantly, become that man, and whether they follow or not won't matter to you anymore. That's true freedom. That's true power. That's the mindset of a man who controls his own worth instead of outsourcing it to others. If this perspective shifted something in you, if it challenged how you've been thinking about attraction and self-worth, comment below. I control my focus. Let me know this resonated, and more importantly, let it remind you that your attention, your energy, your mental space, these are yours to control. Choose where you direct them wisely.